Du nouveau à Minneapolis, Tempo Afrique Travel. Vous voulez voyager? Achetez vos billets d'avion à l'agent de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel. Avec l'agent de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel, pas de problème de connexion, pas de problème de transfert de vol. Avec l'agent de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel, c'est le voyage en toute tranquillité, en toute beauté, de votre maison jusqu'à votre destination. Votre satisfaction est notre plaisir.
Votre attention s'il vous plaît. IPTV Services. Tempo Afrique TV vous offre 6000 chaînes de télévision en direct de l'Afrique, de l'Europe et des États-Unis. Toutes vos chaînes de télévision préférées sous un seul toit. Pour des informations, appelez le numéro suivant +1 612 804 02 95 ou allez sur notre site web tempoafrique.com. Achetez maintenant $193 pour toute l'année, plus l'expédition et le TV Box.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning from the East Coast of the United States of America. Good afternoon, good evening to all of you on the continental Africa and also Africa of the diaspora, wherever you may be across the globe. You are on Tempo Afrique TV, the Pan-African television for Africans by Africans. It's for all of us. So tune in and call. We have a special edition today, and we have invited somebody you want to meet. Good morning, Madam President. We fondly call you Dr. J. We know your full name is Dr. Javon Adams Gaston, but all of us fondly call you Dr. J. Welcome to the show, Dr. J.
Good morning, Dr. Balobi, and good morning to everyone who is participating in the Tempo Afrique TV today. We're happy to be here.
This is the president of Norfolk State University. Ladies and gentlemen, please give her a hand. She may not be able to see you, but I hope you are really smiling right now. Can't wait to hear what she got to say to us. Madam President, can you please introduce yourself, because your CV, no, I can't go over that at all. So can you briefly describe your journey for all of us to hear it and know?
Well, it is my pleasure to have a chance to talk to you a little bit about Norfolk State University and the great things that are happening at this great HBCU. But I'll tell you a little bit about myself first. I first off was born and raised in Washington, D.C. My parents were born and raised in Washington, D.C., except my mother was born in Portsmouth, Virginia, and then her family went immediately to Washington, D.C. And that had great impact on me because it is the capital of the United States of America, and we're able to see in action how not only the government works, but how things work in terms of success and what is equitable. So I really started my professional journey primarily as a psychologist. I was a staff psychologist at the University of Maryland, College Park, and I got to do a lot of things at College Park that some people might think were not traditional, but what it led me to was the ability to know a university from all angles of the university, and having been an administrator, it really helped me to be successful. So I had actually been a counselor at Iowa State University, which is where I got my PhD in psychology. But I then started as a psychologist, and I always had a practice, a private practice. For about 25 years, I had a private practice as a psychologist while I worked full-time in higher ed. So let me tell you just a few of the things that I got to do, because I really do say got to do them because they were a gift to me, because they helped me so much in understanding higher education and being able to coordinate and support the things that we need to have in higher education. So in addition to that, I was the first African-American female assistant athletic director at the University of Maryland College Park, which is a Division I NCAA well-known institution. In addition to that, I was on the faculty. I also served on the faculty at Johns Hopkins University. I was a dean on the academic side of the house. I was associate dean of undergraduate studies, which was all of our students who were trying to find their way in all of our professional programs. So our medical pre-med students, our pre-law students, our vet students, all of them were a part of my portfolio. And we were the largest college in the University of Maryland College Park. In addition to that, I got to create a new opportunity. We were an institution that was fairly decentralized in career, and my job was to do a better job of making us centralized and ensuring that people had the opportunity to, the students had the opportunity to pursue their careers. And I was asked by the president to create a program that allowed students to, for one thing, have internships, but as we created what we call the President's Promise, which still exists today, what we really did was give students an opportunity for experiential learning. So they might do a internship or research activity, or they might do a service activity, or they might do an arts activity, or they might do just leadership. And it was important because one of the things that makes students successful is not only what they learn in the classroom, but what they learn experientially. So that was a big part of, sort of what I got to do when I was at the University of Maryland College Park, which is the flagship institution of the state of Maryland. And then I got an opportunity to go to The Ohio State University, which is also the flagship of the state of Ohio. And there I was the senior vice president for student life, which was all of the things that we know students will need to be engaged in order to grow and develop and be their best selves. And I had the opportunity to create a new segment of the university, which was based on what we call the STEP program, second year transformational experience program. And that program was set to connect students with faculty and to have places where that exists. So we did 4,000 beds in 8 new buildings that allowed faculty to come in living learning spaces with the students on the first floor, and for students to have spaces and rooms where they could connect with others. So that was a really dynamic component of what we were able to do and how we transformed the university. So we went from a university where only first-year students had to live on campus to a university where first and second year. And part of that was for retention, because the data had told us that students who stay on campus for 2 years were more likely to be successful and to graduate from the institution. So we knew that, and we also knew that that included their connectivity to faculty, that included their sense of place, that they felt like this was a place for them. All of these factors that we used from the research that told us this would be successful, and it's been quite successful. And then I got a chance to come here to Norfolk State University as the seventh president. And I am so pleased and proud of this institution. But I do feel like all of those experiences that I had have leveled up to my being the president of the university, who's well versed about all components of the university.
Wow, Madam President, what a journey, what a journey. I couldn't have done it. You see, folks, I hope you follow carefully. That's a rich experience. I couldn't have described it at all. Yes. And ladies and gentlemen, we are meeting Madam President Dr. J of Norfolk State University on the East Coast of the United States of Africa. And she's talking to all of you on the continent of Africa and the diaspora. Madam President, I don't think you are a rare find, and NSU should be proud and really gratified to have found you. You didn't find NSU, NSU found you. Now tell us about Norfolk State University and its foundation pillar.
Yes, Norfolk State University is an amazing institution, even from its roots. So if you think about this institution starting in 1935, and here in the United States, that was the height of the Great Depression. And so during the Great Depression, because so many people lost money, people were jumping out of windows, people were standing in bread lines, but a small group of African American individuals decided that higher education was so important to this community that they would put together, really putting together their nickels and dimes and quarters to create an institution for young people, young minds who needed development in higher education. And I'm so proud of them because I always say to people, if they could create an entire university in the midst of a Great Depression, there is nothing we can't do at Norfolk State University. So we are the largest HBCU, and HBCU means historically Black college or university. They are defined by a 1965 Title III decree that these are institutions that are determined to be primarily for African American students, and there are 101 of these institutions across the United States, and we are the largest in the state of Virginia. And so not only are we the largest, but we are incredibly successful because one of the things we know is that HBCUs really prepare students for the future. We are a comprehensive urban public institution, and we're committed to transforming our students' lives. And so we have amazing teaching, excellence in research, and excellence in providing support for faculty to do service to the community. So we're really, really pleased and proud of that. And our core values are really making sure that those faculty who are engaged are also engaging our students. They're engaging them as teaching assistants. They're engaging them as research assistants. As they're going out and doing service, they are engaging the students because it matters. And we are an institution born of the community. And because we're born of the community, we really believe in giving back to the community. And that's been a hallmark for Norfolk State University. But we've done some amazing things, and we've had amazing graduates and change agents who've come through Norfolk State University, such as actor and director Tim Reed. Some of you will know Tim Reed from his many, many roles on TV. Violinist Karen Briggs, author Nathan McCall, NBA stars Bobby Dandridge and Kylo Quinn. And we have a young woman whose name is Jediah Eisler, PhD. Let me say that again, Jediah Eisler, PhD. She's an NSU alumna and a Denima Scholar. She's the first African-American woman to earn a PhD in astrophysics from Yale University. So those are the kind of individuals we produce, and we're very, very happy that we have the opportunity to do this in an accessible and affordable environment. So our students, we want them to come here, but then we want them to graduate, and we want them to go out knowing who they are and their capacity for success.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are on the show. This is a special edition of our show, What's Up Africa, Que fait l'Afrique? And this is Madam President, Dr. J, talking to all of you live. If you have any questions, you have the opportunity to do so. Maybe you've always wanted to meet her. Here she is, smiling. You know, she has a contagious smile, inviting all of you to Norfolk State University. And the title of this special show today, let me remind you, is Norfolk State University, the Golden Green Transforming Lives. So the NSU is a community integrated higher ed, higher education, higher institution. That's what it is. You've heard that from the horse's mouth. Now, Madam President, you've mentioned HBCU a couple of times, and you even define, you say, historically Black colleges and universities. Could you tell us a little bit more about HBCUs?
HBCUs are incredible because, as I said, there are 101 HBCUs in this nation, but we represent only 2.3% of all institutions of higher education. So we are constantly doing more with our successes than some other institutions have done with lots more resources. But what you should know is, so the very first HBCU was 1837, Cheyney University in Pennsylvania. And if you think about what our history was at that time, we were still in slavery. And so the fact that this was a alleged non-slave state allowed that we could begin that process of educating our young people. So as we've grown and developed, and we're in a time where many more people want to come to HBCUs. And so we're happy that people are interested and willing and think that this is the place for them, because when they come to an HBCU, they're home. And it is much like when we come to Africa, we're home. And so it is a really great opportunity for students. But let me tell you a little bit about the success of HBCUs, because it isn't just that, you know, we bring students in and a few do well and that moves us on. What it does is it changes the cultural context of excellence in our nation, because we are constantly doing more than our 2.3% would suggest. So, for example, 22% of students who earn bachelor's degrees across the nation are individuals who are graduating from 2.3% of the institutions, which is HBCUs. HBCUs produce 25 to 27% of STEM graduates in the nation. We have 40% of those who are a part of our Congress here, 40% are HBCU graduates. 12.5% of our CEOs across the nation have come from HBCU graduates. We have 40% of engineers, 50% of professors at non-HBCU institutions, 50% of African-American lawyers, 80% of African-American judges, all are HBCU graduates. So when you think about the number of schools that we're talking about, and you think about the impact that we're having, not only on the African-American community, but on the United States and the world at large, we are certainly overproducing, and I intend to keep us overproducing, because this is such a rich and wonderful experience for people to be here. It's a rich and wonderful opportunity for them to see themselves reflected in greatness when they're here with the professors who care greatly for them and care greatly for their success. That is the opportunity that we want more of our students to have.
Oh, thank you so much, Madam President. Yes, HBCU, historically Black colleges and universities. So it's a rich history behind this. And I'm going to tell you this very briefly. HBCUs and Norfolk State University specifically actually represent what this country is all about. It's about diversity. It's about the all the different colors, the beauties, the rainbow. That's what it is. It may be overwhelmingly, Black, but it's like going to New York. You feel at home. If you're Chinese, you're African. It's like going to London. That's what HBCUs are. They're historically Black colleges and universities integrated in their communities. Now, Madam President, my next question, I believe this is a really rich history that you shared with all of us and the rest of the world, Africa, and as I said before, all of us around the globe. But can you actually say this? Because you remember this is the final week of something you know about, Black History Month, and we're making history as well. This is my first time actually interviewing anybody from higher ed, and the first person, you are the first person, first president of the greatest HBCU. Tell us. And we all remember what Carter G. Woodson said. He wrote this book titled The Miseducation of the Negro. What is the impact of HBCUs and the lives of African Americans, Madam President?
So this is a really important, and thank you, Dr. Belobi. You're just a wonderful, wonderful asset to our university. This is the focus and the importance of HBCUs is really around how do we translate exactly what you said. One, the miseducation of the Negro, to an authentic, excellent education. And how do we increase and encourage diversity in the both in higher education and in the nation and the world at large? So what's really important here is what type of education are our students able to get? And what kinds of experiences are they able to have so that they can be highly successful, or what we call first day ready for their first either job or going to graduate or professional school. So let me say that why this is important. So we're top 20 HBCU in the country. We're a top 35 public institution in the country. What we are able to do, because we have amazing faculty, staff, and administrators. And I will tell you honestly, I have had many teams and they've all been great, but this is by far the greatest team that I have had because I see the level of commitment. I see where people want these students to go. I see that faculty are bringing in grants. I see that we're doing things like being designated a center of excellence by the Department of Defense. I see that we're on the contract that Howard University has had as the lead. We're one of 9 HBCUs in that contract that allows us to look at our infrastructure, particularly internet infrastructure in the university and the surrounding areas. And I'll tell you a story. When I first came here, I live on the campus. I live in the university house on the campus. But when I first came here, they were doing some things to get it ready. And I lived a mile point three away from the campus. And the internet there was great, wonderful. And when I came over here, we have been struggling with the internet over here for some time. And I asked one of the people who worked at the company who was doing some installation, and I said, well, why don't we have 5G here? And do we have 5G? And he said, no, 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 you live just a little bit too far away, about a mile away from where we laid the infrastructure and where the towers are. And I had an individual one time in my office. He was a vice president for Apple, and we were talking about this. And he looked out the window. He saw a tower out there, and he said, "Oh, there's a tower right there." And he could look it up because they had access to everything. And he said, "Nope, you don't have 5G." But guess what's going to happen? And this is the kind of thing that, because we advocate for this, we can change the narrative. We have $4 million to work on exactly this project, and we will be successful. Because not only will it help the university, it will help the surrounding neighborhoods, because we have neighbors in our backyards who don't have the access, or the access is not good enough. So not only are we caring and making sure of things going well for our university, but also for our community. That's what HBCUs do. That's how they make a difference. We are looking at how we bring in resources, how we are successful with those resources. You look at students who are athletes, and we have some amazing athletes. We just did a three-peat of the MEAC, which is our conference conference, where our indoor track was the champion 3 years in a row. Those are the kind of things. Or you can look at our basketball team, and our basketball team for men has been champion 2 years in a row. Our women are runner-up, and this is their year. And we're looking for a three-peat for the men who've gone on to the NCAA. These are the kind of opportunities that students have, that individuals have. Many of you will know Pharrell Williams. He's a good friend to the Norfolk State University community, and he created A Mighty Dream. And where he started that was right on the campus of Norfolk State University. It's now now down in Norfolk City and going to Virginia Beach. But, he has awarded $2.5 million to students to be successful in building their own companies. And one of our very own students got $50,000 of that money for his Novus Security Incorporated startup. And what he does is anti-phishing, using anti-phishing tools in the Web3 space. So here's what I'm telling you. This is a place where great things happen all the time. We are really successful in many, many ways. Our band was just out in California in the Rose Parade. It's the only HBCU invited this year, and got fan favorite for being in the band. They're the #1 band in HBCU, among HBCU bands nationally. They're voted #1. So we are that place where people can realize their dreams. In fact, I was just this morning at an event, and oops, so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
Okay. I think we're back. We're back in business.
Yes.
Okay. I was just this morning at the Honda Campus All-Star Challenge, which is an invitational to bright, talented students across the HBCU spectrum, sponsored by Honda. And it was just great to see the students be able to stand and deliver, and in a variety of categories. It's sort of like a national Jeopardy. And those teams that win today will go to California. And actually, Norfolk State has won in the past. And one of the individuals who was a coach this year, I'm sorry, not a coach, he was a judge this year, was one of the people who had been on the NSU team that won the national championship. These are the things that happen for and with students when they come to HBCUs and when they come to Norfolk State University.
Thank you, Madam President. And ladies and gentlemen, you are on Tempo Africa TV, the Pan-African television by Africans for all Africans, in this special edition of Kefel Afrique, What's Up Africa, Norfolk State University, the green and gold transforming lives. So, folks, you can tell that this is not just academic word, it's about changing something, changing people's lives, impacting their lives positively, making a difference in the community and beyond. It's time to call in. If you have a question for Madam President, do not hesitate, because we're going to maybe the last questions and she'll be gone. This is maybe, we hope it's not going to be the only one opportunity, but don't wait for that second or third opportunities to come here. Just ask your questions. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Madam President, that's a really rich history of HBCU. NSU has a lot of accomplishment. And folks, you aren't saying anything yet. So listen for some more, because I want to insist on NSU's accomplishment, Madam President. Some more, please.
And if I could just say where we're headed a little bit, as we continue to make our trek forward, there are a couple of things that we want to ensure our students have. When I got here, we were, I was 8 months into the job, and then we had the pandemic. We had COVID-19 pandemic. So I like to say I was the president of NSU for 8 months, and then I was the president of COVID for 2 years. But we're back, and as I said in the beginning, we come from a rich history of doing things in spite of great difficulties like the Great Depression and now like COVID. And we did extremely well because we pulled together as a team. And I talked about the fact that we have the best team that I have ever seen. But I will also say that two things that we're really looking forward to now that we have gotten electronic devices for all of our students. So they have iPads and they have all the things that go with them, including our faculty, because it's not about the iPad, it's about the learning that can occur because they have those devices. So we're very proud and pleased to be the only HBCU that was able to give those iPads to all of our students and all of our faculty. And every year, students come in, as faculty come in, they get not only the iPads, but we have a learning specialist who works with the classrooms to help them explore better learning techniques. So we kind of got that, moved along, and some of our students have iMacs because of the kind of work that they have to do, and that's great. We've done all of that. But now we have two things that we want to make sure we accomplish. One is that every student have an internship, a paid internship, before they leave the university. And the second is that every student have an opportunity to have an study abroad experience. We know that students who are going to be competitive in the world need to know something about the world. When I was at my last institution, I took students to South Africa for 8 years in a row. We went to Cape Town and worked with the township there. There was an individual who was an amazing woman who had a women's co-op, and they were doing amazing things. And we worked with them in a continuous way for 8 years and did some really great things with that community. But more importantly, our students felt a part of the community. So those are the kind of experiences that I want our students to have here at Norfolk State University. And that's what's happening. We've always had some faculty who have taken the students abroad, and I applaud them. But now we're much more intentional in how we get those students abroad and what that learning experience will be. You always have to have learning outcomes. You can't do any of the work without knowing, did what you hoped to achieve, was that achieved? And you got to have some learning outcomes. So now we have a thriving, we just went down to Jamaica, the provost, myself, and the head of um, of international affairs went down to Jamaica, and we signed a contract with the University of West Indies for study abroad there and study abroad here. We did one with London, and so we continue to work and thrive in this area where we want every student to have an abroad experience, whether it's a summer experience or an experience for a semester, whatever it may be. It's important because we live in a world. We don't live in, Norfolk State or the city of Norfolk or Virginia. We live with the world, and we want our students exposed and connected and loving those people who are in the world because they are part of who they are and part of what they know. And the second thing is that no student should leave this institution without a paid internship. And why do I say paid? It's important for our students to have the pay because that's often what they're doing when they're working locally just to make it to go through school. And so we want them to have a paid internship. Now, this is interesting because we have many institutions in the state of Virginia and the Commonwealth of Virginia who have students of means. But we've all gotten together and all of the schools have said internships are so important that paid internships should be a part of the fabric of the institutions across Virginia. So we've gotten together and sort of signed on to paid internships for those who want it. Here at Norfolk State, we really want to get to the place where we say every student will have a paid internship before they leave the institution. And there's one reason why this is particularly impressive and important. And we have an internship program going now that people are stunned by how ready the students are when they go to meet with, and these are with CEOs in the local area. But here's one fact that really helps people understand why this is so important. And that is when students go to an internship, 67%, so that's almost 70% of the students are going to get an offer of employment. That doesn't mean they have to take it, but they have an offer right there. You can't afford not to be a part of 70% of students, almost 70% of students being able to get jobs coming out of the university. That's why every student needs to have an internship so they have the opportunity if they are going into the job market. But if they're going into graduate or professional school, they still need those experiences. So we're in the business of creating throughways for our students that help them to be extraordinarily successful.
Thank you, Dr. J. And ladies and gentlemen, we're now down to the wire. That was the last question. But if you have a question, ask it quickly. Jump on this and ask your question. Madam President is going to go. You know how busy their schedule always are. No Sunday, yes, Sunday they go to church, they are Christian, and Madam President is Christian. So, it's 24/7. They're really busy. Can you see? It's amazing what Norfolk State University is doing. The green and gold transforming life. Madam President, we're short of words to chant your praises because you don't like that. People chanting your praises, that's not what you are all about. We all know you, those of us who are at Norfolk State University. And I'm one of your faculty, a professor of English and linguistics, former chair of the Department of English and Foreign Languages. I'm here and I love it. I love it. I love it. And if the African men say, I love a place, it is true. It is sincere. I love it. And kudos to you, Madam President. You transform NSU dramatically, significantly, and all of our students and the community members are proud of you. Long live Madam President. I was, after hearing your stories, okay, it was like Oh no, I haven't done even 1/10 of what she's accomplished, and I wanted to retire. Maybe let me go another 5 more years because I got a story to tell. And your story is unique, Madam President. Congratulations and greetings to your family, your 3 children. If I'm not getting into your private life, your husband. It takes a family. It takes a family. People say yes, it takes a village, but I think it begins with the family. It takes a family to do great things. Without your family support, you certainly couldn't have done what you've done, and not for yourselves, but for Africa, African Americans, people of African descent. We're really proud of you. And let me just, in a few sentences, summarize what we've done to French-speaking Africa. Mesdames et messieurs, vous êtes à la rencontre de la présidente de l'Université de Norfolk, à l'est des États-Unis. Une dame formidable avec un CV, un résumé superbe. Elle nous a lu simplement quelques lignes de ce CV. Mais ce qui est important, c'est surtout les accomplissements, ce qu'elle a pu faire, comment elle a réussi à transformer l'Université de Norfolk. Elle nous a donné l'histoire de ces universités noires. Il y en a 100. There's a question? Okay, caller. Yeah, Madam President is listening. Caller.
Madam Sombre. Hello, Professor Balabi.
Hello.
Madam the President. I just would like to know if Madam the President plans to collaborate with other universities in West, particularly in West Africa, like Senegal or other countries. And I just want to take some questions about this collaboration.
Yes, we are very, very open to collaborations with other countries, and particularly countries in Africa. As I said, we're just starting with really rebooting our study abroad program, and at the level that we really would like. So if you have access to higher education, colleges and universities, and countries like Senegal and other countries in Africa, we are very, very interested in those relationships.
Okay.
And in what kind of domain do you like to collaborate with those universities?
And I'm sorry, I missed your question. You said what kind of?
In what domains, what fields the collaboration will be focused on?
What fields, yes.
So let me say it depends on the institution, but some of our areas of excellence include cybersecurity, social work, our nursing, our theater arts, our English, our it's almost limitless. So if you're thinking about what our STEM programs, if you're thinking about what may be needed, just reach out to us and we will talk about that.
Okay. Madam Sam?
Yes, I'm interested to collaboration with in the electronic field and scientists and all about science and particularly in microelectronic, all about defense and aeronautic and spatial, but we don't have university really contact with university in United States. And I want to know if it's possible to have this collaboration with University Cheikh Anta Diop, for example, in Senegal and or other African countries.
Yes, absolutely. Dr. Balobi, would you create a way for that caller to connect with us?
Yes, definitely. I will do that. And I know the caller, by the way. She's one of the rare female scholars, not just Senegalese, but globally well known. She's in electronics, nanophysics.
Yes.
This is Madame Sam, and she lives, I believe, in Paris, but her roots in Senegal. And Cheikh Anta Diop University, as the name says it all. Cheikh Anta Diop is about the roots of who we are, the history, and all the rest of it. I will do that, Madam President. I will get all the information from her and also from you to her so that that connection can be made. Alors, l'Afrique francophone, et c'est cela, contactez-nous, contactez Tempo Afrique TV. Notre numéro, c'est bien sûr déjà sur l'écran. L'un de ces numéros, nous contactez. Eh bien, nous allons vous brancher sur Norfolk State University. Et puis, les voyages des étudiants vers l'Afrique, vers l'Europe, nous voudrions, n'est-ce pas, qu'il y ait des sponsors pour, par exemple, une partie de housing. Le reste de l'université va s'en occuper parce qu'il faut s'ouvrir sur le reste du monde. And what I'm saying is that Norfolk State University is opening up to the rest of the world, but first and foremost, Africa. And I'm calling for people who will be willing to collaborate with Norfolk State University and even co-sponsor the study abroad program, because into maybe housing, touring, helping the student to walk around and know their way around so that they can discover Africa. They've read about Africa through history in the books, but they want to live Africa and bring something back to Norfolk State University that always makes a difference. Madam President, it's already 2 minutes past. Thank you so much. It's an honor for me and for Tempo Africa TV to have you on this special edition of What's Up Africa, Que fait l'Afrique. Thank you so much again, and God bless you.
Thank you, Dr. Balobi. It was my honor to be here. I loved hearing from folks and being able to share this great institution, which is Norfolk State University. But I have to end by saying what we always say at Norfolk State University. Behold,
the green
and
gold.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye, Madam President.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Du nouveau à Minneapolis, Tempo Afrique Travel. Vous voulez voyager? Achetez vos billets d'avion à l'agent de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel. Avec l'agent de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel, pas de problème de connexion, pas de problème de transfert de vol. Avec l'agent de voyage Tempo Afrique Travel, c'est le voyage en toute tranquillité, en toute beauté, de votre maison jusqu'à votre destination. Votre satisfaction est notre plaisir.
Votre attention, s'il vous plaît. IPTV Services. Tempo Afrique TV vous offre 6000 chaînes de télévision en direct de l'Afrique, de l'Europe et des États-Unis. Toutes vos chaînes de télévision préférées sous un seul toit. Pour des informations, appelez le numéro suivant +1 612 804 02 95 ou allez sur notre site web tempoafrique.com. Achetez maintenant $193 pour toute l'année, plus l'expédition et le TV Box.